7 worst foods that trigger leg cramps in seniors. Are you waking up every night with sharp, stabbing leg cramps that leave you gasping for breath? Like someone's twisting your calf muscles into knots while you sleep? Maybe you've been stretching religiously, taking magnesium supplements, and staying hydrated even though you've done everything they told you, increased your potassium, cut back on caffeine, and tried every remedy online. But those agonizing leg cramps just won't go away. If you're over 50, let me tell you something comforting. You're not alone. And more importantly, you're not stuck this way forever. Because what if I told you that avoiding just 7 common foods that are hiding in your daily meals could help reduce cramping episodes by up to 70%, improve your sleep quality, and give you back those restful nights you've been missing? No expensive treatments, no complicated elimination diets, no restrictive eating plans. Just knowing which seemingly healthy foods might be sabotaging your muscles, but no one ever told you. Stay with me for the next few minutes, and I'll walk you through exactly what these foods are, why they trigger cramps, and how to spot them in your daily routine. Oh, and before we jump in, tell me in the comments, how many nights this week have leg cramps woken you up? I love knowing how these tips help real people find relief. And don't forget to tap subscribe on this channel, Senior Essentials, so you don't miss a single tip for staying strong and pain-free as we age. So now, let me show you the 7 common foods that might be triggering your leg cramps. You'll be surprised by how innocent they seem. 1. Overripe bananas, the potassium trap. Let's start with something that might shock you at first. Overripe bananas, especially those brown spotted ones we often think are sweeter and better. It sounds wrong to avoid them, right? But sometimes the foods we think are helping us are actually making things worse. You see, as we age, our kidneys become less efficient at processing excess potassium. When you eat overripe bananas, you're getting concentrated potassium along with sugar spikes that can throw your electrolyte balance completely off track. That's where those middle-of-the-night cramps step in. It's like flooding your system with too much of a good thing. The excess potassium doesn't get properly filtered. Your muscles receive mixed signals. It even disrupts the delicate sodium-potassium balance, which helps control muscle contractions. Late at night, when your body is trying to rest, overripe bananas can signal time to contract those muscles. The concentrated sugars spike your blood glucose, the very imbalance your muscles need to avoid for proper relaxation. It's like sending confusing messages inside your leg muscles. And here's something interesting. Overripe bananas can also cause dehydration as your kidneys work overtime to process the excess. That means you might wake up with not just cramps, but that awful Charlie horse that takes your breath away. It disrupts your natural sleep rhythm in the most painful way. I once spoke with Margaret, 67, who said this realization changed everything for her. She was eating 2 overripe bananas every morning, thinking she was preventing cramps. But after 3 weeks of switching to firm, yellow bananas and limiting herself to half a banana, her nighttime leg cramps dropped from nightly episodes to maybe once a week. Her sleep quality improved dramatically. No more 3 a.m. wake-up calls from her calves, just peaceful rest. Now, imagine combining that knowledge with understanding how certain acidic foods can irritate your nerve endings. That's exactly what we'll discover next by looking at tomatoes. 2. Tomatoes, the nightshade trigger. Let me introduce you to tomatoes, especially raw ones in salads and sauces. They contain compounds called solanine and high levels of natural acids. The very things that make this nightshade vegetable so problematic for muscle function. Tomatoes have been trusted in healthy diets for generations, but for good reason. They can work against your body when it comes to muscle relaxation, nerve irritation, and electrolyte disruption. And the worst part, they're not obviously harmful. They nudge your nervous system subtly, increasing sensitivity in the most uncomfortable way. Here's how they affect your leg muscles. When you consume tomatoes regularly, the solanine accumulates in your system. That means increased nerve sensitivity around your calf and thigh muscles. The acids can also interfere with proper calcium absorption. And if your body has been dealing with chronic inflammation, this nightshade can amplify those muscle tension patterns. I remember speaking with Robert, 72, a retired teacher who loved his daily Capri salad. He was waking up with severe leg cramps 3 to 4 times a week. But after just 10 days of eliminating tomatoes from his diet, the cramping episodes decreased by 80%. I never would have suspected my healthy salads were the culprit, he told me. Tomatoes also affect calcium absorption, but in a negative way. That disrupts proper muscle contraction signals, so you don't feel balanced muscle function. And as a hidden factor, they've been shown to increase inflammatory markers, which ties directly to muscle tension and cramping episodes. There's also something quietly destructive about nightshades. Tomatoes have inflammatory properties for sensitive individuals, affecting your body's ability to regulate muscle contractions and keeping your nervous system on high alert. So, when we combine them with our previous banana knowledge, you're not just avoiding one trigger, you're protecting yourself from multiple cramping pathways. Next, we'll explore something that seems perfectly healthy but can flood your system with natural sugars. 3. Grapes, the sugar bomb. Fresh, juicy grapes hanging in your fruit bowl. We all know how refreshing and natural they can be, but did you know they play a dangerous role in disrupting your body's electrolyte balance? Grapes are an absolute nightmare when it comes to blood sugar spikes. They have the ability to flood your system with natural fructose, and they're terrible at providing the sodium and magnesium balance. In fact, despite appearing healthy and natural, grapes actually have a dehydrating effect on your body, which triggers electrolyte imbalances and enhances cramping potential, the very instability that's vital in proper muscle function. Have you ever felt restless or crampy after enjoying a large bowl of grapes? That's often a sign that your blood sugar hasn't been properly regulated. A handful of grapes in your afternoon snack will instantly spike glucose levels, causing your kidneys to work overtime and with less efficiency. It's like giving your electrolyte system a sugar shock that demands immediate attention after just 30 minutes. One of my clients, Helen, 69, a retired nurse, shared with me how she was snacking on grapes every evening while watching TV. After incorporating this habit into her routine for just 2 months, her leg cramps went from occasional to nightly occurrences. Not only did the cramping intensity increase, but her sleep disruption also started to affect her daytime energy levels. She felt frustrated and exhausted. But that's not all. Grapes are a nightmare when it comes to proper hydration. They're packed with natural sugars, which forces your body to use extra water for processing and gives your kidneys a much-needed workout. Plus, if you've ever experienced nighttime cramping, the fructose overload in grapes can trigger dehydration cycles over time. And here's a fun fact. Grapes even contribute to potassium-sodium imbalance. They flood your system with sugars while providing zero sodium, which can disrupt proper nerve signaling. For anyone trying to prevent muscle cramps, this combination is a disaster. Now, the next food we're examining in this dangerous list is oranges, which brings its own set of acidic problems that will help explain your cramping episodes. 4. Oranges, the acid attack. That bright, cheerful citrus sitting innocently in your kitchen. It's not just for vitamin C. It's one of the most problematic acidic fruits your muscles could encounter, especially if you're struggling with recurring leg cramps. When you add oranges to your daily routine, they bring something troubling. Oranges dramatically increase acidity levels. They disrupt proper mineral absorption and keep your muscles from maintaining proper pH balance. That's why so many people feel muscle irritation after consuming citrus regularly. And if you ever feel that burning sensation in your calves, oranges are one of the worst natural triggers for that. They've been creating muscle pH problems for decades around the world. But what really makes oranges dangerous isn't just how they increase acidity. It's how they interfere with magnesium absorption. Oranges contain high levels of citric acid, which are powerful mineral blockers. That means they don't just irritate muscle tissue, they prevent your body from absorbing the very minerals that prevent cramping. Whether it's magnesium deficiency, calcium disruption, or potassium imbalance, oranges quietly sabotage muscle function from the inside. I once heard from Patricia, 74, who had been drinking fresh orange juice every morning for years. She was experiencing severe calf cramps that were disrupting her morning walks and affecting her independence. But once she eliminated citrus from her morning routine, just like we're discussing here, her cramping episodes dropped by 90%. Her muscle comfort returned, her morning walks became enjoyable again, and she said, "I had no idea my healthy breakfast was causing so much pain." Oranges also have high fructose content, which contributes to dehydration cycles and gives your electrolyte system an unnecessary burden. Nothing extreme, just enough disruption to throw off your muscles' ability to contract and relax more efficiently. It's like creating tiny electrical storms in your leg muscles to keep things constantly irritated. And when you combine oranges with the previous foods we've discussed, it becomes a perfect storm of cramping triggers. But we're not done yet. There's one more tropical fruit, and it might surprise you. It's pineapple. 5. Pineapple, the enzyme irritant. Now, we examine the tropical troublemaker, the one fruit that wraps inflammation and nerve irritation together with sweetness and appeal. Pineapple. Not just any tropical fruit, but specifically fresh pineapple loaded with bromelain. This isn't just about digestive enzymes, it's about nerve sensitivity. Pineapple has a dangerous power. When it enters your system, it immediately begins increasing inflammation markers throughout your body, especially around nerve endings. And that's critical, especially as we get older. Our muscle tissues tend to become more sensitive to inflammatory compounds, which means pineapple consumption can trigger cramping episodes, especially in your calf and thigh muscles. Over time, the bromelain enzyme can overstimulate nerve pathways, particularly in your legs. And it doesn't stop there. Pineapple also plays a destructive role in muscle pH balance, especially when consumed regularly. I remember one gentleman, Frank, 68, who told me he was skeptical about tropical fruits causing problems, but after his doctor suggested eliminating inflammatory foods, he tried removing pineapple for 3 weeks. 2 weeks later, his nighttime leg cramps virtually disappeared. I never connected my afternoon pineapple snacks to my 2 a.m. muscle pain, he said with amazement. That's the bromelain enzyme disrupting nerve signals, increasing inflammation, and triggering painful contractions. And there's something particularly troubling about it, isn't there? The way pineapple's natural acids combine with bromelain enzymes, creating a double assault on muscle comfort. That inflammatory response actually compromises your muscle recovery too. When we feel muscle irritation from enzymes, our bodies respond with increased tension. That alone can trigger cramping episodes and worsen overall muscle health. Now that you know what fresh fruits can do, let's examine something that concentrates all these problems into an even more dangerous package. And don't worry, understanding these connections will help you avoid the worst cramping triggers in just minutes each day. 6. Dried fruits, the concentrated catastrophe. Let's look at those innocent-looking dried apricots, raisins, and prunes sitting in your pantry. Think of them like nutritional landmines disguised as healthy snacks. Next, we have the concentrated sugar bombs that most people consider healthy. Dried fruits like apricots, raisins, and prunes. If you enjoy trail mix or afternoon dried fruit snacks, you might be setting yourself up for severe electrolyte chaos, but that part's optional. The concentrated sugars alone create havoc. Then add the potassium overload factor, the kind with all moisture removed, which concentrates every mineral to dangerous levels. Give your kidneys a moment of panic as they try to process this mineral tsunami. Now it's time to understand what happens with such concentrated nutrition. You can experience immediate blood sugar spikes or deal with prolonged electrolyte imbalance. If you prefer gradual onset, the dehydration effects will slowly build up. It'll bring out the worst cramping episodes. Finally, remember the serving size matters. Not too much, just enough to throw off your entire mineral balance. Stir well, and your perfect cramping storm is ready. You can experience immediate effects or delayed cramping if you prefer. Just be sure to drink extra water, but it won't prevent the mineral chaos. Let those concentrated sugars settle into your bloodstream like a message that says, time for your muscles to revolt. If you're new to understanding these triggers, start by checking labels. Don't assume dried fruits are harmless. More isn't always worse, but concentration definitely is. Consistency in avoiding them helps. And if you're dealing with diabetes or kidney issues, it's always okay to check with your doctor first. You want your body to feel balanced, not overwhelmed. 7. Apples, the acid and sorbitol surprise. That crisp, healthy apple you reach for as a snack. Not just any fruit, but specifically tart varieties or apples eaten in large quantities loaded with malic acid and sorbitol. This isn't just about fiber and vitamins, it's about digestive disruption that leads to muscle problems. Apples have a sneaky power. When consumed in excess or on an empty stomach, they immediately begin creating gastrointestinal distress throughout your digestive system. And that's problematic, especially as we get older. Our digestive systems tend to become more sensitive to sugar alcohols like sorbitol, which means excessive apple consumption can trigger cramping episodes through digestive upset and mineral malabsorption. Over time, malic acid can irritate your stomach lining, particularly affecting nutrient absorption. I remember one client, Dorothy, 71, who was eating 2 to 3 apples daily because her doctor said an apple a day keeps the doctor away. She was experiencing not just leg cramps, but digestive discomfort that seemed to make her muscle problems worse. After reducing her apple intake to just 3 to 4 per week and avoiding tart varieties, her cramping episodes decreased significantly. I thought I was being so healthy, she shared. The sorbitol in apples creates digestive chaos, which disrupts your body's ability to absorb magnesium and other crucial minerals. When your digestive system is irritated, everything else suffers, including muscle function. Now that you know what these 7 foods can do, let's talk about what happens when you start avoiding them and how quickly your body can respond. Expected results after 2 to 3 weeks. So, what really happens after you avoid these cramping triggers for 2 to 3 weeks straight? Well, if you've been carrying those painful nighttime leg cramps, one of the first things you might notice is this beautiful sense of muscle calm. Not the kind that comes from pain medication, but the kind that happens when your electrolytes are finally balanced. Your calf muscles feel relaxed. The nighttime jolts ease. You might even sleep through the entire night, like your muscles aren't staging a revolt anymore. Many people say they experience the gentle but noticeable improvement in sleep quality, especially regarding sudden muscle contractions. That's because avoiding foods like overripe bananas and dried fruits helps maintain proper potassium balance so your muscle signals stay more consistent throughout the night. You're not experiencing random cramping episodes or middle-of-the-night wake-up calls. You just feel rested. Your circulation picks up too. Less muscle tension, less nerve irritation, more comfortable movement without needing constant stretching. And when blood flow improves, everything gets better. Your energy levels, your confidence in walking, even your mood during the day. You feel more secure in your body, more stable. I've heard from so many folks who said they were shocked at how their sleep patterns shifted just from avoiding these trigger foods. Not in a dramatic overnight way, but enough that their morning stiffness decreased. Their daily activities became easier. They started feeling more confident about their physical stability. And that's the beauty of it. It's not just about stopping leg cramps. It's about losing that constant worry about when the next painful episode will strike you down. Important precautions and usage guidelines. Before you eliminate these foods completely from your daily routine, I want to gently remind you that balance doesn't mean elimination forever. Even problematic foods have their place when used with care and awareness. First, let's talk about bananas. While overripe ones can trigger problems, completely avoiding all bananas isn't necessary. Fresh, firm bananas in moderation can actually help prevent cramps. That's the difference between balance and excess. So, if you're eating bananas regularly, it's a good idea to choose yellow ones over brown spotted ones. Or better yet, limit yourself to half a banana every other day. That way, you get the benefits without the potassium overload. Then there's citrus fruits like oranges. Beneficial for immune health, yes, but also potentially triggering for muscle function. If you love citrus, consuming it earlier in the day may reduce nighttime cramping effects over time. That's why timing and quantity matter so much. It helps your body process the acids properly. Another thing to remember is the pattern of elimination. These foods aren't meant to be avoided forever and ever. Many nutritionists recommend you try elimination for 2 to 3 weeks, then gradually reintroduce one food at a time. Give your body space to show you which specific foods are your personal triggers. That awareness is part of the healing process. If you already have diabetes, kidney disease, or you're on medication that affects mineral balance, just speak to your doctor first. This isn't about creating nutritional deficiencies. It's about identifying your personal cramping triggers. Most people find that by listening to their body and staying observant, they identify their trigger foods within the first 3 weeks. But remember, this is not about perfect elimination. It's about awareness, a simple, steady step toward feeling more comfortable and sleeping better. Now, let's look at what you can expect as your body adjusts to avoiding these cramping triggers. So, here we are, friend. Just 7 foods, simple awareness, 2 to 3 weeks of mindful eating. That's all it takes to begin a shift. Not just in your leg comfort, but in how you feel when you walk, how you sleep through the night, and how you approach each day without fear of painful muscle spasms. These food eliminations aren't just about stopping cramps. They're about honoring your body's signals in a way that feels empowering. It's about choosing to show up for yourself every day with something gentle, something protective, something done with self-care. And I want you to try it, not because it's the latest trend, but because it's practical wisdom. Try it for 3 weeks. Notice how you feel. Then come back here and share your experience in the comments, your improvements, your discoveries, even the small victories that only you would celebrate. And if this message helps you, if you know someone who's been suffering with nighttime leg cramps, send this video to them. A small act like that might change their sleep quality too. And don't forget, subscribe to Senior Essentials so you never miss the gentle guidance your body deserves. We're here to age gracefully together, one pain-free night at a time. You've got this. And your muscles, they're ready for relief.